Now we need to know what is innate or natural immunity. It is the inherited resistance to infection because it is present since birth and it is hereditary in nature. Individual possesses it by the virtue of his or her genetic and constitutional makeup. That's why it is also known as native and constitutive immunity. It is non-specific defense mechanism of our body because it operates non-specifically. It can operate any kind of disease, any kind of microorganism which affect our body, and it is present since birth. It always operates. It is the first line of defense of our body. Then come to its type. It is three types. One is species, another species immunity, racial immunity, and individual immunity. So in case of species immunity, it is the immunity of different members of a particular species. For example, many human pathogens do not infect animal, they only infect human. For example, animals are naturally immune to infections caused by Salmonella typhi, which is a causative agent of typhoid, and Vibrio cholerae, which causes cholera. Then another example is human beings suffer from mumps, but dogs and cats are not. Anthrax basically infect mammals but not birds. It is the species immunity because it is similar to all the member of a particular species, and this immunity varies from species to species. Another one is racial immunity. Various races within a species exhibit different degree of resistance to infection. For example, Algerian race of sheep is resistant to anthrax, while ordinary domestic race of sheep is susceptibility to it. Another example of human race is Jews are resistant to tuberculosis, whereas Negroes are susceptibility to it. This is the racial immunity. Now come to another type of innate immunity, that is individual immunity. Resistance to infection varies from individual to individual. For example, during outbreak of a disease, some individual would entirely escape from it. They do not develop it, while some individual will develop subclinical infection, but some might develop it. Then various type of host factors that influence the level of innate immunity, like general health, for example malnutrition, vitamin protein deficiency, increased susceptibility to infection. And then age, another factor. To extremity of age, like infant, children, and old age, they have old people have weak immune system, and in case of infant they have immature immune system, so they have increased susceptibility to disease. Another factor is hormonal disorder and malnutrition, also increased susceptibility to the infection. Then mechanism of innate immunity, which is actually important for this topic. It operates non-specifically in two ways. Actually, the main nature of innate immunity is its non-specificity. It can operate against any kind of disease, any kind of microorganism infection. There are two ways of innate immunity. One is external defense system, another one is internal defense system. External defense system operate by blocking entry of microorganism into the body. In order to produce disease, microorganism need to enter into our body. But external defense system, which is played by skin and mucous membrane, they prevent the entry of microorganism into our body, so they act as first line of defense. Once the microorganism and disease causing pathogens enter into our body, next the second part of innate immunity, that is internal defense system, operate. They interact with this disease causing agent by activating various factors like tissue factors, some hormones, some cells to destroy this microorganism. This is also known as second line of defense. Innate immunity use various barriers to prevent infection, like anatomical barriers, example skin, mucous membrane, physiological barrier like low pH, high temperature, various microorganisms unable to survive in high temperature. Phagocytic barriers, there are various cells in our body that phagocytic in nature that kill microorganisms. Then inflammatory barrier also help to prevent infection. Now coming to the first part of this innate immunity, which is the external defense system. Innate immunity in this case act as first line of defense. Skin and mucous membrane, which are physiological barriers, prevent entry of microorganisms or pathogens into our body. Then come to the role of skin. Skin consists of keratin, which are indigestible by many bacteria, so they cannot enter into it through the intact skin. Then most of the bacteria fail to survive on our skin because of the inhibiting nature of saturated unsaturated fatty acids, which are commonly present in our sweat. Sweat contains high concentration of salt and an enzyme known as lysozyme, which destroy bacteria, so it prevents bacterial growth and kill bacteria. Then come to the role of mucous membrane. Mucous membrane actually present in the epithelium of respiratory, gastrointestinal, urogenital tract, which contain goblet cell. This cell secrete mucus. Once the microbes or any particle enter into this tract, they adhere to the mucus, get trapped, and thus prevented enter into our body. Okay, they escape outside through the ciliary movement of cilia, which is present on this tract. Then role of body secretion. It is also play important role in innate immunity. For example, skin secretion like sweat and sebum contain many antibacterial substances. They kill bacteria. Another example is tear, which contain an enzyme lysozyme, which have antibacterial activity. Actually, the role of a lysozyme is the lysozyme prevent cell synthesis in bacteria, and it digests cell wall of bacteria. As a result, bacteria is die. Gastric juice contain HCl, which make it very acidic. Okay, the pH of stomach is 1 to 3. In this pH, bacteria and other disease-causing pathogen cannot survive. Another example is acidic nature of vaginal secretion, also prevent entry of many pathogens. Saliva contain a mucopolysaccharide, also destroy bacteria. The internal defense system, another mechanism which is known as second line of defense in innate immunity. It is occur through various tissue barriers, which is divided into two types. One is humoral factors, another one cellular factors. Then humoral factors include, apart from antibodies, a varieties of substance are present in blood possesses antimicrobial activity. For example, lysozyme. It is present in many tissue fluid. It digests bacterial cell wall and kill bacteria. Next one is complement. Complement are non-specific heat labile protein present in serum. They active when infectious agent enter into our body, and they interact with these particles, infectious particle, and kill them. Then next one, humoral factor is interference. Interference are non-specific antiviral agent. They operate against virus and prevent viral infection. Next one is cytokine, chemokine. They are secreted by many leukocytes, participate in innate immunity and inflammation. They kill disease-causing microorganism. Then toll-like receptor. These are soluble or cell-associated receptor. Bind to specific microorganism by recognizing specific pattern. They also prevent infection. Next one is cellular factor. Many cells which are phagocytic in nature, like neutrophil, macrophages, they engulf and digest pathogens and kill them. As a result, they cannot survive in our body. Other phagocytic cell are dendritic cell, B cell. In addition to phagocytic cell, natural killer cell also known to kill pathogens, particularly viruses. Then another mechanism of innate immunity is fever. It is a protective defense mechanism. Fever increases circulation of blood and flushing of tissue, which help to eliminate toxic substances through urine and sweat increase body temperature, harmful to many microorganisms. Then the last one is inflammation, which is a very important non-specific defense system of our body. A hallmark sign of inflammation is pain, redness, swelling and heat. Mast cells, which are extremely sensitive to injury, distributed throughout our body. Any tissue injury caused by pathogen causes degranulation of mast cell, release histamine, serotonin, etc. that causes inflammatory response. As a result, increase blood flow, aggregation of macrophages, macrophages at the injury sites. These are actually phagocytic cells. They phagocytosis the pathogens. As a result, pathogen cannot multiply in our body. They generally kill. Then thus inflammation help in limit tissue damage, restrict infection, initiate tissue repair. This is the entire mechanism of innate immunity. So thank you.